we should start and, maybe one of the other panelists joins. We can take it forward. Well, so since morning we have been discussing about cybersecurity and AI and various vulnerabilities. But the industry or the sector that is being most affected by cybersecurity attacks, I believe, is the financial industry. For obvious reasons, right? The money is there and the maximum data is also there, right? So I was reading a report, the RBI says in the last 2 decades, 20 years, we have lost more than 20 billion to cyber attacks and this kind of bad actions. Another report says more than 2,500 cyber attacks happen in the BFSI sector every week. I'm a little surprised with the number 2,500 per week. I believe it must be much more than that, right? More than I think 18 crore transactions happens a day. And out of that 2,500 attacks, it's just minuscule, but I do not believe that data. So well, to talk about, thank you. So on that part, I would like to understand from the panel, it would be, this question would be for the entire panel. Coming in 2025, what are the biggest challenges that you see? Digitalization was there, someone is talking about this so-called OTP as the authenticator. AI is now being pushed to help or automate these processes. So what are the challenges that you foresee 2025 and beyond? I would like to start with Mr. Sethi first.
Thank you, Gyana, and good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, my fellow panelists. See, what is really happening, as I see, is, as was rightly said, while AI is increasing a lot, but the threats which are based on AI are also increasing at the same pace. So rather than just the traditional threats that have been there, as I see, AI would be used more to exploit the vulnerabilities in the systems. Also, all these phishing attacks and the ransomware attacks, which have been there for quite some time now, would become much more sophisticated because of AI. And I am convinced that the attackers know more about AI than any of the defenders or the organizations, or any AI that organizations are using for their own value creation is way less than what attackers are using. And that is the biggest thing. And the second, instead of taking too much time, the second major risk that I see is the third-party risk. Now, BFSI sector is one sector which has a huge population of the stakeholders which are beyond their own organization. Those also become a huge entry point for threats into BFSI. So while one can get into zero trust and all those, but the reality is most of the organizations are not working on that. So this, whether the third-party risks or the AI, using AI, exploiting the various vulnerabilities, risks, and getting into various issues in the organizations is becoming a major thing for BFSI sector, as I see.
See, I'll pick it up from him. When you talk about use of AI in cybersecurity and the threats coming in with use of AI, we have to also look into the aspect that what are the vulnerabilities when you're using AI. So it's good to inculcate AI in your organization when it comes to fighting or when it comes to creating that entire system in place when it comes to cybersecurity. But while utilizing that, you have to have a lot of things in mind, keep a lot of things in mind. It would be similar as, what happened with privacy long back. That today you talk about privacy by design, it's very difficult to implement privacy by design. And that's where it will come in place that you need to understand the biasness, you need to understand how vulnerable those AI things would be, what all data sets are you utilizing in building those AI things, what are rights available over there. DPDP Act is there, but apart from this, GDPR and a lot of other privacy laws are existent worldwide. Do that company who is providing you with data or you procuring the data, is there a proper consent for that mechanism? If you don't have that consent, tomorrow you will land up in more of a litigation and a difficulty than practically trying to solve the problem. So the solution will bring in more problem for you if you at the initial stage do not understand these issues and you don't have mechanisms to keep yourself secure or mitigate that entire risk while utilizing AI. No denial on the part, and I think people here with me are more in the technology part of it or security part of it for that matter to tell you that how AI can be utilized when it comes to cybersecurity. But I would say not to be scared of it, but at the same time be aware about all the risk associated with AI, legal plus security risk, and learn how to mitigate that aspect of having entire systems in place, having contracts in place when you're taking data sets. When I say contracts in place, if there is a third-party vendor who's building it for you, or if you're buying it from third-party vendor, have that indemnify yourself, ask them to have consents into it. There are copyright issues, IPR issues. So I think whole maybe a cheat card to put a tick the moment you are using AI in your system, because you cannot escape from not using AI.
Mr. Rao.
Good afternoon, everyone. I agree with both my co-panelists what they said regarding AI risk. That is definitely it is there. Another one, the most important what Vijay said, third-party risk. See, these two things are definitely it is there. But when you talk about me as a cooperative bank, see, we are more dependent on the third party. Something like supply chain, I think this is one of the most vulnerable for the our sector, because most of us are dependent on the services provided by the third party. If you see one of the incidents of 6 months back, there was a supply chain attack on CH, where 300 banks were cut off. So that is, I think, one of the major risks, because some way or the other, the hackers have understood the dependency of the banks, and they are targeting the actual dependency where it is lying, and they are trying to retrieve the data from there. And indirectly, they are going to disrupt the entire supply chain, entire banking functionality. I think supply chain is one of the major things which is going to be there.
Hi, good evening, everyone. And I would like to address some other aspect, because lots has spoken on AI by Sethi sir and Khushbu. So, and I represent BFSI. So when we say cyber risk, fraud risk, or compliance risk, so compliance or regulatory requirement is laid down by a different regulator to protect us from this cyber and fraud risk. So if we are protecting or implementing effective controls, automatically we'll comply with the compliance risk. Now on a cyber risk and fraud risk. So let's address first cyber risk. In a BFSI, because we are sort of fiduciary for our customer, we have a confidential or personal information about our individual customer, because we are lenders. And so address the risk, first thing we should fix our basics also. So when we say basics, we must implement effective technology, effective process, and effective awareness mechanism in our organization to disseminate each and every regulatory compliance related information and cyber related information. Let's start with cyber risk. Few controls like vulnerability management, access control, and third party risk. These are the three basic controls every organization must address. And fourth, that is on top of that, the testing of all these controls. These three controls are main pillar to protect from cyber risks, and test of all these controls periodically. That is the effective way to counter your cyber risk. Now, second risk, that is fraud risk. In our industry, fraud risk is rampant. Every organization in a financial institution having certain percentage of fraud reported either at directly to the organization or to the regulator. We have, we should implement an effective mechanism through technology, that is very important, to address the fraud risk. Because fraudsters are coming with a different mechanism, like hackers. Like hackers are using now AI to penetrate in your organization. Same way, fraudsters are using different mechanism to conduct a fraud with you. So there are multiple regulations also like UCIC, dupe regulation in a BFSI to counter these fraud risk. As far as third risk or compliance risk are concerned, what I can say that privacy related risk is more critical as of now because organizations are still under implementation phase, and how regulator will react once this framework will come. And so that is a regulatory risk that need to be addressed in a 2025.
Mr. Anand.
Hi, thanks. I'm a late entrant, so sorry I missed your question itself.
So the question was...
I heard Vijay onward, but sorry for this.
Absolutely, you can catch up. So the question was, in 2025 and beyond, what are the biggest challenges that we see in the BFSI sector from the perspective of using AI or other technologies?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think, thanks. Your name, please, sorry.
Gyana.
Gyan. Oh, okay, thanks. I don't need to give a Gyan to Gyan, right? But that speaks said, probably like Vijay sir and other moderate panelists, fellow panelists talked about, the AI is names dropping. We do all of us are doing these days, right? It's just like cloud in early 2000, then digital in 2010, 12 onward. Now it's AI. I'm sure in 30s there will be something more to that. But having said that, it's both an opportunity and a challenge. And we have, as a technologists as well as the business owners or the vertical heads, we need to take care of both aspects of it. As much you need to shore up your fences using whatever you can. It's just not about the devices, what you put. It's more about what policies, what SOPs, what frameworks you have to put in practice. It's also about putting up very close monitoring which you need to do and auditing about those monitors which you have put in about that. And creating awareness within the organization itself. Now when I say organization here, it is not the organization which is the geographical boundaries of your organization or the office boundaries of your organization, because those have got blurred. People work all the time from home. But in addition to that, the third parties which are closely integrated with you, and the work. In fact, if I quote a recent study, it talked about 98% threats are emanating from the third parties, out of which 6% have been successful, which is a big number. Though it sounds 6%, but that is a big number. And it's important and imperative to frame policies and frameworks. Like in our case, what we have done is we do close evaluation of our third-party suppliers, like we are done by our customers, and then we measure them year after year and see how they are performing, because it may be an issue at their infrastructure, it may be an issue at their end, but at the end of the day, it can impact us. It may not attack us, but if say, for example, something has happened or anything which could be possible, I don't want to name because there can be n number of things, but that can result in a threat to my business, but threat also that I can pass it to my customers. So it is very important to protect that aspect of it, because it's a chain in command. Second, I think, as I said, more we make awareness about it, more we federate or democratize, I think it will make the world a little more safer, if not at all.
Absolutely. And many times people say that the answer lies in the question. So when AI poses a lot of threats, I believe AI also offers a lot of solutions to the BFSI sector. So I would like to hear that from Mr. Sethi, because he has done a lot of automation throughout his career. I know him since ages. So I would like to know from Mr. Sethi, what are the innovations or automations that can be brought with AI that would help the sector?
Yeah. So as AI adoption increases, one thing that we need to keep in mind is one of the biggest threat could come from the AI itself, the adopted AI, which would mean what? Your data poisoning and the model poisoning. the model that you are using or the algorithms that you are using in your organization and you are thinking that they are helping you out, or even whether to do a fraud detection or to do any other activity, they could be poisoned. They could be attacked themselves and you could be getting either wrong answers or your data could be going out. Similarly, the data itself could be poisoned in the entire thing. So one of the biggest things that companies need to take going forward is, as they say, that you use diamond to cut diamond, so you have to use AI to ensure that the AI-related risks are taken care. So it should mean that, first of all, if I look from AI model poisoning, data poisoning, all other activities, or a bias in the AI data, you have to really put in very stringent measures from an AI data or AI governance perspective, the data governance practice, ethical data governance practices, and do a strong audit onto top of that so that the entire thing is done. Second is, I go back to what Bhavesh and Bharat said, which is on the awareness. So it is not a generic awareness that you go over there, conduct 5 sessions, be happy that 26% people attended and I have done a tick mark. But somewhere get into ensuring that in the organization everyone believes that protecting the data is their duty. It is not that they are doing an ahsan on the organization that yes, I protected the data, but it is my duty. If I don't protect, the organization could go down. I think that level of thing, and for which your generic trainings that you just put in that cybersecurity is bad, you do this, not this, but it has to get into a culture of the organization that data security is very, very important. And for that, I believe that it has to start from top. It should not be that the leaders and bosses say, no, you do for all those things, guys, but I am actually busy outside or I have a meeting, I can't attend. So you have to demonstrate right from the top that it is done. So these are 2 things that rather than getting into longer thing, I'll just leave it so that we hear others' views also.
Sure. And also, it's always good to have, Khushbu on the panel. Every at least in the financial industry, so that there is a kind of FOMO that whether you have deployed AI or not. Almost all the banks have used their AI-related or AI-enabled chatbots in that. So when they're in a hurry to for digital transformation and deploying AI, compliance is very critical for BFSI, right? So how to ensure that balance between the regulatory compliance and to keep pace with that rapid transformation?
First and foremost, you need to have that strong governance policy so that it is being driven, it's been adopted very strictly. From that, you start put in every aspect. When I talk about right from data poisoning to an aspect of biasness, to an aspect of privacy, vulnerabilities from third-party infiltration, to wrong data sets, inadequate data sets, to copyright and trademark issues, the ownership aspect of it. When you have, these are such some examples. So have those things very clearly been defined, and in and around that, have your entire systems in place, have paperwork in place, have contracts in place, have undertakings in place, where you clearly take consent from the people you're taking data, from an organization or a third-party vendor you're taking the data. You take very clear, explicit, unambiguous consent that they have a consent for the data they are providing it to you. That's number one to keep, because tomorrow, if in whatever scenario something happens, you are the one who will be the face and you will be the one to put across. Now, when you don't have an entire understanding, first from where you have taken, who all are the parties involved in between, to transfer your liability, it will play a very important role. And if you're not in a place to shift that liability or transfer that liability, you'll be paying you'll be paying the price for the things you have not done it. So have those in place very clearly. Then your policy need to have that clear understanding of, there are a lot of ways where you can understand biasness, and those data sets, those questions can be utilized, which can continuously keep working. So whenever you're having any of the model, you need to have those different questions, and those questions kept on asking. When you keep asking, you will understand whether the result or this thing there is an aspect of biasness. When it comes to security, then also you can start continuing. It's a continuous process that you have to keep doing it. That's what I said, that you need to have that governing policy in place, which will define when, how much, what all has to be done continuously. It cannot be a one-time activity, as somebody was saying that, not that one lecture or a two lecture or one session or one outsider comes and tells you things. No, it has to be when we used to talk about privacy by design, security by design, when you talk about AI also, you need to understand how you are getting it, what you are getting into, what is the result, and for that all purpose, where all places you can strictly put in that there is no infiltration, plus you have all the rights of things you're doing in place. And you have all the contracts. I'm again and again talking about contracts, but trust me, today is not the stage, but tomorrow there would be issues that would arise, and that's where you need to have that contract in place to transfer your liability, because the penalties would be unimaginable. Apart from penalty, you will have people also coming and doing things, and that's where you will have to have that aspect where it comes in, because if you don't have that paperwork or that trail or that transparency, you would not be able to put accountability at the place where it should be.
Mr. Rao, as a CISO, compliance is also a part of yours, maybe KRA. So how do you see this, making a balance between compliance as well as,
See, being a CISO is a very difficult task, actually, I'll tell you. See, one thing is you have to protect the transactions which are taking place at the customer side. Second thing, you have to protect the data which is residing in the data center. Third is you have to report to the board regularly. Fourth is you have to report to the regulator. So this complete gamut is a very difficult task for the CISO. See, compliance is definitely one of the major factors actually, because what happened with I don't want to name any private bank, but what happened everybody knows. Nowadays our regulator doesn't charge penalty. They completely close down the operation itself. They say don't do the card transaction, don't do the digital transaction, completely they block everything. So those days are gone that RBI used to put some 2 crore, 3 crore penalty and all, that's gone now. So compliance is definitely one of the major portions. See, I'll just come to being a technical person as a CISO. See, for us, we should be working on a single platform like Zero Trust. No, don't trust anyone, but verify everybody. That is the one simple formula we have to do. And you have to have a multi-layers, basically. It's not only that we have done IDS, firewall, then certain things we have deployed. It's not like that. See, there are multi-channels you have to deploy. Not only IDS, the gateway level IDS, then internal firewall, you have to have gateway level firewall, then you have to have network segmentation, you have to create a micro segmentation, which is one of the major area actually, because what it does, it completely blocks the lateral movement between the servers itself. That is one of the major area we have to do. Each and every server has to be done, the segmentation has to be created within the servers, not only network segmentation. And also you have to regularly monitor. The incident management is one of the major factor which need to be done, because so many incidents are being created. It is difficult for a human being to actually see that. So in that case, when we are talking about AI comes into picture in those areas, because you have to consolidate all the events on a single platform. And then you have to generate that. AI will help you in generating the high, critical and medium kind of thing that will actually help. See, AI is having two sides. You have to use it a better side of it. So AI will actually help you, what are the critical, what are the high vulnerable, those things, so that you can immediately work on those areas. Not only that, you should have a proxy kind of thing where only need-based access we have to give. We don't have to give each and every access to. Social media, completely blocked. There should be multi-layer security at the emailing, because that is one of the entry point for the hackers, because nowadays people are using AI for the phishing attack. So multi-layer security for the email kind of environment that is there. Then regularly you have to give awareness. Awareness not in the sense of manual awareness. You have to conduct something like phishing attack, phishing simulation. Those things need to be done. Regularly you have to conduct a red teaming assessment, the breach attacks, and whatever applications you are giving to the customer, it has to be verified thoroughly. You talk about VAPT, application security, penetration testing, all those things need to be done. These are a part and parcel of the security. You just can't say only security is one particular area. It's not like you have to work on all 4 parameters which I said. You have to guide the board, you have to reply to the regulator, you have to take care of the customer who is doing transaction. Even the application need to be, that security wrapping needs to be done, because when the customer is going to do the transaction, it will actually check whether any vulnerable in the mobile or not. If it finds any vulnerable, automatically it will not allow the customer to do the application, or it will automatically remove the customer and it will not allow the customer to do the transaction. So many things are there. It's a difficult task.
So there are so many challenges in this sector and so many technologies being deployed, so many third-party vendors you have to deal with each day. And I think Mr. Anand raised that point. Perhaps 30 minutes is not enough to address or talk about everything. But would like to know from start from Anand. How can we or organizations, BFSI industry, foster a culture of resilience? There are a lot of risks, but from risk to resilience, how can you from top down, how that can be inculcated into the the organization as a team?
The enshrined word is resilience, because risk exists is all pervasive. So the important aspect related to resilience is how it's not about when. Actually, it's not about if, it's about when. So we have to be, and that's how we all have to be prepared in our organization. The attack will happen. When it happens, what is our quick reaction to it, how fast we can turn around, and most importantly, how can we contain it? Now, if we think that it's not me, it's only the other guy, that company, then maybe we are utopian in our thought process. But additionally, when, if, and all that is another part. But there are other things which organizations, and particularly the BFSI, like what we are trying to do is, how can I would say, secure my ledgers, transactional ledgers? Can I put blockchain into that so that it becomes impermeable? And probably we are working to make it as a permissioned blockchain put together, so that when we deal with our customers, vendors, enterprises, corporates, so on and so forth, it becomes, for now, I don't say about quantum computing, soon we'll have that, and maybe even 2056 or whatever we want to call it, they'll become, we can easily break them and all that. But nonetheless, for now it will be that we can live and do, and it can help out around that. Having said that, I still stress nothing is foolproof and nothing is idiot-proof about it. You have to have awareness campaigns, and like being said, the targeted campaigns, which was being alluded by Vijay sir about it, that you got to, because irrespective of it, whatsoever said and done, and it has to be persistent. It's not, aaj bata diya, you learn 2 multiplied by 2 ka table in second class, so you learn, continue to live with it now also, right? It is not like that. Journey. Absolutely. And the world, because of AI, the threat vectors are changing so dramatically now that they will all appear as original, as Gyana is talking to me right now. You might be appearing and talking somewhere else, giving the similar conversation and talk about it, right? So how will you differentiate that? And the world is changing that way. Yeah.
Yes, Bhavesh.
Yeah, when you say risk to resilience, so my opinion is we should have a complete start to end framework to contain our risk, from risk identification to risk mitigation. An entire journey to containment lies between these start identification to mitigation. So we should have a robust risk framework to identify the risk in the organization, and it should be a continuous process. I have seen that many organizations put like once in a year risk assessment. That is for the tick box for compliance. But every time you implement a new technology, you change any process, you go for a new module in your business landscape, you must conduct risk assessment for that particular piece. So that entire framework need to be validated again and again and again. It's not a one-time job. That is the first thing. Second thing, when you are implementing any technology in the organization for risk mitigation, you have to assess whether they are truly mitigating your risk. What is the percentage of mitigation of that risk? Because sometimes you say, okay, 50, 60%, but that is not enough. Even 1% gap in that mitigation can dent to your organization, and entire investment on that risk mitigation will, washed out. Third point, because we are discussing AI technology in the organization, we should not implement AI in the organization just for the sake of implementation of AI. If technology, which is inbuilt AI, is giving value addition or solving your business problem or increasing your business, then go for it. If any technology with the AI is mitigating your cyber risk, implement it. But just for the sake of implementation, we should not implement. There should be a ROI on that technology, whether it's AI or non-AI. Third point, what this BFSI is, whether it's using, what kind of use cases for this AI. What I believe, BFSI is already using AI-driven technology from last 4 or 5 years, because AI is a buzzword now. But in BFSI, I can say that in a data science, all banks, NBFC, they are using to generate the business. That's a AI and ML-driven tool, already using from last 4 or 5 years. Second is the customer support. Again, AI and ML-driven tool in the form of bot. We are already using that. And third, that is a big technology that is, it's an innovation or a new technology being implemented across the organization. That is to prevent the cyber fraud or financial fraud with an AI-driven tool. Because manually or in a simple tool is not able to detect that financial fraud in your organization. So very high precision tool or technology is being implemented to scan your checkbooks, your bank accounts, your signature, everything. So again, that intelligence of AI is needed. So there are certain use cases, active use cases in the organization where in a BFSI can be, AI-driven tool can be implemented. But again, as Vijay Sethi sir said, like the biggest risk in implementing AI is within AI itself.
Absolutely.
So it's a very, you must conduct risk assessment before implementing AI.
I think we discussed about the challenges, the solutions, and what the future looks like. And I will take this word from Mr. Sethi that AI is the challenge, and again, AI is the solution. Thank you so much, dear esteemed panelists. We'll meet some other time and discuss it, continue the discussion again. Thank you so much.